not what I want to do in my business. I want to rank products and help people make money. Amazon just generally doesn't want you to win. It's very easy to run an ad on Amazon, but it's very hard to run an ad profitably. And that's exactly where Stone's Good steps in. Welcome back, everyone. Today, we've got Ed. Ed, how's it going?
Fantastic. How you doing? Thank you for reaching out.
Yeah, of course. Ed, I'm really excited to hear about what you're up to in the world, just in general, especially when it comes to like the event and the community that you manage. But before we kind of start talking about that, what it is, I'd love to give the audience just a quick intro to you. So, yeah, do you want to let people know about you?
So I'm actually been in e-commerce ever since eBay allowed sellers on their platform, which is a long time ago. And I only moved to Amazon around 2010. And I was I would say relatively successful small um third party seller before it became so professional. Before you had like the $50 million sellers, it was more like 2 or 3 or 4 million. There were a lot of those, but the profit was much better. So I evolved into Amazon, and I always had sort of a feeling like how these platforms regulate the bad actors that have seller performance. eBay had Vero, and I always felt that, of course, it's necessary, but that a lot of good actors mistakenly get caught in the trap. And I myself was suspended, and I knew nothing was done wrong. So I got reinstated, and that started a whole chain of events, which led to the AFGTG, which is a community of legitimate above board sellers bonding together in order to work with the platforms when they get it wrong. And just because we think they got it wrong doesn't mean they got it wrong, but quite often we ended up being right and they got it wrong. And that's really the goal of ASGTG.
That's super cool. And I really like that, it's a bunch of sellers who have each other's back, people like the Amazon game can be so cutthroat, but if you have a community of people who are all helping each other, it definitely helps you feel not so alone whenever something unfortunate like being wrongfully accused of something happens. But yeah, I really respect that. Tell us more about the community and then also about the event that you guys are putting on, if you don't mind.
So, right. So the community in Facebook now has 82,000 members. It's also on Telegram and WhatsApp and Reddit. And what it is, first of all, is anytime there's like breaking news and seller performance, or now it's called account health, I always find out about it right away because people are always telling it to me and I post it out. So that's what brings sellers to stay connected to me because they know that I always have, I call it news before it happens. And that's why a lot of sellers connected. And as the community grew and I sort of gave up the actual e-commerce space because it was taking so much time. Frank, I needed ways to monetize it. And I still believe in the need for groups and for the necessity of sellers, legitimate above board sellers having a chance and staying together. And so I needed ways to monetize it. And one of the ways is I have a compliance team because I learned a lot about compliance over the years. And it's also the events, which I do once or twice a year. And this year it's March 5th. So the event always centered around compliance and following the rules and what we can do to stay stay in the game because these platforms have total control over you, and I don't think it's good for the platform and they get it wrong, and I don't think it's good for the sellers. I know it's not good for the sellers and they get it wrong.
Well, and the thing is, if you look at it, like this most recent year, 2025, I think was the year of the fewest new Amazon accounts being set up in the history of Amazon allowing third party sellers. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, so actually I saw that statistic and it was the trend was down. I don't know if I read it that it was the least ever, but the trend was yeah, the trend was that it's going down. And I think Amazon and all platforms have realized that they don't need, they don't want to be Craigslist where anybody can sell anything. They want it more limited and more professional. And what I tell everyone is that no one's going back to brick and mortar stores. Third party selling is here to the question is it's TikTok, Amazon, Temu. So I don't think that stat said that Amazon that third party selling is going down. What it said was that the newest amount of sellers are getting on, and it is getting hard for certain business models to stay in the Amazon and e-commerce game. So I agree that it's getting harder, but there's a lot of people. I know a lot of people who are doing very well, even today. But it is getting harder, and you got to be more professional.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think there are still people who are doing really well, and it does kind of seem like we're shifting more and more towards like a winner take all environment. So is definitely something that we've been noticing as well. Getting back to your event, the event is on March 5th. Can you tell us a little bit more about it? Who's speaking? What's happening? Like, I would love to hear more about like the event itself.
So the event itself is actually, I believe, the longest running Amazon sellers event. We've had Amazon there, eBay, Walmart, a lot of Temu, Shein. We always have a lot of marketplaces there. And basically, the zip code where it's being run in Brooklyn is one of the largest and most vibrant third-party seller communities. So Brooklyn, New York, and it's New Jersey and the East Coast has a lot of mega sellers there. A lot of the original Amazon sellers going back from 2005, like they sort of made it like a professional business. So the core of the attendees is the large sellers in that community. And the way the event is set up is there's 8 or 9 ongoing presentations in one room. And we have Bradley Sutton from Helium 10, and from Jordan Levin from Yuka, and a lot of big name sellers are going to be there. We've had in the past Kevin King from Jordan, Chad Rubin, Jeff Cohen, and so it's very e-commerce, high level focused in one room. And then we have another very large room with the exhibitors, and all day is there's tons and tons of food. It's known for to have the best food in the industry. So yeah, yeah, that's an interesting thing to be known for, but it's definitely known to having the best food in the industry. And it's a 1 day event, and it features a lot of top sellers, and a lot of people in the community, they don't go to any other event. Just they know that event, they just come to that, and they don't really want to spend 4 days in Vegas. So it's in and out. You meet the exhibitors, you meet the presenters, you make some connections, and pretty much that's the event. But it's, I believe, very well regarded, and what makes it well regarded are the quality of the attendees. High level sellers doing 20, 50 million per year and above.
I like that a lot, and I think that's a really well thought out way to put it. This is a high level event where if you want to congregate with a bunch of other people who are doing exactly what you're doing, this is the place to be. This is the event to be. And I can't tell if it's because I only had breakfast so far today, but an event with really good food sounds like something that's something I really I would really like. That's that's cool.
We can talk about it. You're welcome to attend. I would love to have you. Where are you located now? I mean, you're doing the interview. Where are you located?
I'm in San Diego, California. I'm originally
Right.
Canadian, so I don't know if I spent a lot of my adult life in Toronto, so I've been to Brooklyn plenty of times. But yeah, I live in San Diego, California, so bit of a hike for last minute. But I probably would like to be there next year because it sounds like it's one of these events where it's just very, very interesting and very, very cool. I was taking a look at some of the topics you guys are going to be talking about, and I thought that was something that really stood out to me. So I would love to hear about it if you're comfortable sharing, like what kind of topics are going to be discussed. What things are you personally excited to hear about at this event?
So it's interesting because this is my. I mean, I've done like 15 or 17 events already, but this is the 12th year of doing it, and I have a little bit of a unique perspective from planning the event of where the industry is going. So, for example, if you look at, and I posted about it, if you look at the topics the first year, it was like, is seller performance legitimate? Or does Amazon care? Like there's like random open-ended questions. And today it's what not to use with an agentic AI list. It's completely different. And
Mhm.
you look at the speakers and you look at the exhibitors, and what I would say, what I think is the most focused is brands selling on other channels such as TikTok shops. I think four other sponsors are TikTok shop and related, and I think TikTok shop is sending representatives, I believe.
Mm.
So a lot of the selling and a lot of the presentations are going to focus on how to move from 95% Amazon to Amazon just being another channel. And the trend seems to be that sellers are trying to grow their brands off Amazon. And seems like for the first time it's possible, because the biggest challenge always has been, how do you get buyers to buy off Amazon? Everybody loves Amazon. And anecdotally, it seems like the younger generation is not as impressed with Amazon as the people, let's say, over 40. And if you
Mhm.
look at the younger, under 20, the teenagers and the low 20s, they're all buying on TikTok. They're buying on Shein. They're buying on a lot off the website directly, because the websites are offering deals which you can only buy on their website. Amazon has all these rules and it's very limited. And the brands feel more comfortable. The brands love when you buy off their website. They're not paying the percentage. They feel like they own the customer. It's a little bit of a
Yeah.
two-way street, and both the buyers and the sellers. So Amazon is becoming less dominant in my view, and third-party sellers are going to be going where that is. I mean, also, the second focus, I would say, is because profits are so thin, volume keeps going up. But I have a friend who told me he loses on every package, but he makes it up on the volume. So it's becoming harder and harder to turn a profit. So running a tight ship by using AI to automate whatever tasks you can. If you can get rid of one or two employees, that's huge. Accounting, we're having someone from Connect Books who is very into making sure you have your books down packed and making sure that your profitability is as good as it could be. So I would say that accounting and being profitability and off Amazon is going to be the top two topics. But it's interesting to note that Bradley Sutton, who's probably our featured speaker from Helium 10, he's going to specifically focus on not forgetting, staying at the core, the basics of Amazon, that it's not changing as much as people think it may be, and that there are certain standards which is still needed, and Amazon is still the behemoth which we have to deal with.
Yeah. Okay. That's very interesting. I would just have to say that I'm seeing the same thing in my business. We have a framework we call spillover commerce, where some of the companies that we work with will use this with us to install a profitable website on top of their existing Amazon business and use that to really grow their business overall. So I've been seeing the exact same thing in my business. The reason we've been prioritizing basically owning your own website is because TikTok Shop is something that we found to be specifically more focused on beauty products. So 80% of sales on TikTok Shop is beauty. And so we've kind of shied away from that because we primarily don't work with beauty brands. And so that's just something that we found. Like TikTok Shop is, we found, more of a niche play than like a always go after this, like always choose this niche, always choose this platform. And then also just like we want to move away from being held hostage by any one platform. For example, Amazon or TikTok Shop.
Yeah, the TikTok shop is also becoming notorious. So it must be something with the legal that they can't get it right, because
Mhm.
for some reason it's really this big platforms, trying to take you down. It's really I mean, American Express, lot of if you go online, a lot of big companies, they because there's no due process, so they could just and the agreement is written in such a way that they have total control of you. So, like American Express can wipe out your points overnight, and they don't need to give them. And with Amazon, it's next level because you have 50 employees, and they have the inventory, they have your money, and then just they send you an email, goodbye and good luck. We're keeping your inventory, keeping your money, and it's almost impossible to believe, but it's true.
Yeah. And I mean, that was the primary reason you kind of came up with this community, right? But it's still true today. It may be even more true today than it used to be.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so yeah,
and I would point out it's not a hostile relationship at all. I mean, from my end, it's just that why would you want to hurt someone who didn't do anything wrong?
yeah, yeah, I could not agree more. And I think diversification is really your best friend in this case. And I'm really excited to see that that's going to be forefront on your conference. So you said that you usually have one or two events each year. Is this your primary event? Are you going to run a second one this year?
Right. So that's a good question. So I this is my primary, the annual one. It's the 12th annual.
Yeah.
And we've had specialty ones. We've had like 2 summers ago, I had one when was it 2 summers ago? Yeah, 2 summers ago, just on AI, like everything related to AI. And I'm sure everything that was stated there is completely obsolete.
Yeah, but right. Yeah.
Right. I've had specialties, and a lot of times I've had there were times where I would do one like January, one in the summer. So I've had different times specialty ones, but yeah, this is the annual ones. And it's interesting to note that most of the Amazon events have just disappeared. There's just a few left. There's mine, not a few, but there's less than in the past. And it could be a reflection of people that there's less sellers and people leaving the industry, but we're still standing and it's going to be a packed house, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised, but I am impressed. I think that you're probably part of why you have such a long running event is because you bring the goods every year, and people keep coming back.
Yeah,
That's kind
I
of,
try to stay relevant. I try to stay relevant. And also because we have this community going the whole year, people feel connected to it. It's not like an
mm,
event once a year. It's an ongoing conversation. Then, okay, you guys coming, I'll see you at the event. I won't see you. That's how we keep it going.
okay. Um, so I guess final question is just like, who is the perfect fit for this event and who is maybe a bad fit for this event?
So I would say it's primarily for experienced private label and resellers, even though it's becoming harder for people who are reselling brands, but there's still plenty of people. I would say it's for medium to larger or people who do it full time for sure. So it's not someone
Hmm.
who's like, looking for a job and someone told me that I could start selling on Amazon and let's see if it works. So it's not for you. It's more someone who's 5, 7, 8 years in the business, and you're looking for partners who are offering services that can help you grow. You're looking for marketplaces that you can start selling. You're looking for tools where it can help you expand your offering. It's interesting. There's also going to be, I think, 3 or 4 law firms, which is which is interesting because everything became like almost everyone has lawyers now on retainers because there's IP issues and trademark
Mm,
issues, and you could sell on this platform, and they kicked me off unfairly, and I got this FDA notice. The intersection of selling online and really getting involved in and tech is it's also becoming larger and larger.
wow. I would never have thought of that. That is incredibly interesting. But it also makes perfect sense. Why wouldn't you need this, especially if the prize is so big that it makes sense for people to try to do something black hat to steal money from you. I mean, that's the nature of online
It doesn't
business.
even yeah, it doesn't even necessarily have to be, it could be in good faith. I mean, it could be I bought, $1 million of a product and somebody thinks that you're violating the patent and you didn't know. The question is like, how do you work this out? Like sometimes we've worked out, or the lawyers have worked out solutions where they let you sell for 6 months and they'll give you royalty. So it's not necessarily hostile or fighting always. A lot of times it's a legal issue to work out and you need a lawyer. So it's interesting because you're dealing with it used to be that if I would sell something that might violate, let's say, a patent or a trademark, and I sold it in my store, no one would know, they wouldn't even care. But now everyone sees everything, and there's tools that are finding IP violations, and just because the tool found it doesn't mean there is. So you could dispute it, and even if you don't dispute it, the question becomes like, okay, so what do we do now? So there's
Yeah.
a lot, yeah. So it seems like there's a lot of these issues of intersection between law and third party selling. It comes up and up and up.
I mean, it makes perfect sense. Yeah. Why wouldn't you be forced in that kind of situation? But yeah, I mean, look, I'm experiencing FOMO right now. I'm not going to be able to make your event, but I'm really, really glad that we got to have you on to feature you because if anyone is near, they should absolutely be going to this event. This is super cool. Ed, could you give everyone the details of the event, the website, how to find all that stuff, how to find you if they have questions about you? Yeah, because I think that would be really useful to finish things off.
So if you want to speak to me personally, you can contact me on LinkedIn, Facebook, or through my website, asgtg.com. There's information there about the event, or you can go directly to asgtgevents.com, and it's right there. It's reasonably priced. I think it's like 140 now. I mean, as it gets closer, it goes up, but it's very reasonably priced, especially if you're on the East Coast. There's parking, it includes food, it includes the recordings, includes past year's recordings. It's reasonably priced, and I know if you've never been there, it's very well regarded, and the quality of the sellers is great, and a lot of the exhibitors and the speakers who would speak at much more at much larger shows like in Vegas, you don't have to go there if you don't care to go for 3 4 days. You get sort of a snippet of what you need. For the sponsors love it because they get very large sellers, and everybody who shows up goes to every sponsor because it's like 1,000 attendees and there's only 40 sponsors, as opposed to some of the other
Mm,
shows. The ratio is much worse. And so the sponsors get a lot of joy out of it. That's why they love coming to it. And I'm looking forward to meet you if you can make it. I think you would like it.
yeah, no, I mean this sounds like an excellent event. I highly encourage anyone watching this to check this out. If you have questions, message Ed. But I mean, he's got a pretty good website with a bunch of the good FAQ there, and that should be in the link in the or that should be in the description below. With that said, Ed, thanks so much for coming on. Thank you for doing what you do because community is so important, especially in today's ever confusing digital environment. So thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing. And everyone else, until next time.
Pleasure.